Hello, it's Cubby from A Personal Spin, and I'm here to tell you today about Cobalt's new album on Profound Law Records, released this year, and I believe it's their third or fourth album. This album is really cool. I particularly like the presentation of the album, which as you can see is very orange. But what I particularly like is the fact it's a bit like a gatefold vinyl. The album is in two parts and it's called Slowforever. That's the name of the album, but it comes on two parts, Slow and Forever. What's interesting is the whole thing could have fit on one CD, but the band has obviously, for some artistic reason, decided to put it into two sections, which is even more interesting when you consider Forever is 37 minutes long, so it would all fit on one CD, but they come in these little paper sleeves, which I think is really cool. Wonky Face thinks so also. Right, on to the actual music. Okay, and now on to the music itself. The album is ambitious, very, very ambitious. It's got broad scale. There's lots of big riffs and lots of tom drums and lots of raspy vocals and lots of big bass and lots of dynamics to it as well. It goes from the actual album opens with a nice acoustic passage before going into this blasting great riff, which is really cool. There are parts on tracks where the bass is just on its own and then the drums will come in, and it gives a very dynamic range of sound to the album. It's not without its faults though. I think for the scale and scope and ambition of the album, they could have perhaps had more instrumentation, like keyboards and something like that. But despite that, it's still pretty good. They could also maybe have done with some singing vocals. There's no, it's all growly vocals, which is still quite cool, but they haven't printed the lyrics, so any poetic lyricism is lost, assuming there is any of. The production on Cobalt's Slowforever is perfectly suited to the music on the album. It's rough and ready, it's coarse, it's unrefined, and yet it's also quite precise and delicate. The drums, for example, are very dry and crisp. You can make out all the toms and the snare drum and all the cymbals, and it comes through, it breaks through the music very clearly. The guitars are very dissonant in places, but that's not really production. They're very raw, there's not much processing on them, so the signal that they used is quite unprocessed, it's dirty, and it gives the guitar much more punch, along with the bass. The bass is very growly. There's a few songs where the bass is playing on its own, you can hear the overdrive from the amp, so they've obviously turned it up and it's got a very loose, powerful sound to it. So I quite like that, and the vocals are obviously growly, and therefore there's not much processing on those either. It's quite a natural sounding album. The parts I like about the album are the sheer ambition and the riffs. There's a lot of really good riffs on the album, like on Hunt the Buffalo, the opening track, has got some really good riffs, and it ends with a really good, catchy riff. Elephant Graveyard, which is the first song on Disc 2 Forever, is also really good. And the title track, which is the last song on the album, is also got some really big riffs in it. What I don't like so much about the album is it's a little bit samey. As good as all the riffs are, it tends to be a bit samey, that there's not too much variety in the sound as such. There tends to be, you could arguably say that it's a bit too consistent. They could have done with just a little bit more weird guitar effects or something strange happening. But that's it. Other than that, I think it's quite good. It's perhaps a little bit too long as well, given the scope and limited instrumentation of the album. I tend to find that metal albums that go on for more than sort of 45 minutes are a bit too long, unless they've got something standoutish and different about them. My favourite song is definitely the opening track. I think it's a brilliant opening track, the way it just changes from acoustic guitar into blasting heavy riffs with the drums going doo doo and stuff. The really nice toms, they've got the high toms that go with it. It's really good. I also like, I think it's Ruiner, but that's what I mean by it's a bit too consistent. So unless you're following along on your CD player and going, oh, track 1, track 2, it's a little bit hard sometimes to actually tell when one song is finished and the next song has started, which isn't so good. Time for the poor rating, and yes, this is Wonky Face, my other favourite plushie. He doesn't talk because I took his batteries out, but if he did, he would say, "You and I will rule the Pride Lands forever, ha 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 ha," or we might sing at you. He's called Wonky Face because he has a wonky face. Look, he came in the box like that, and his neck's a bit blah blah blah. But I don't care, that's why I love him. And we have given it a 7 out of 10 poor rating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See? And last but not least, can you dance to it while drunk? I would think so. It's definitely interpretive dancing, definitely. Thanks for watching. I've been Cubby, and this has been Wonky Face with Cobalt's Slowforever album. Stay tuned when I will be reviewing Shamash's new album Triangle, Opeth's new album, which is coming out on the 30th of September, and Twilight Force's album. Stay tuned, and thank you for watching. Bye.